Hi guys, my name is Jake Thompson, and in this video I'm going to talk through the history and development of 2D animation. I will discuss traditional and digital techniques along with animation software, and I will also talk about pioneers and developers of 2D animation, as well as contemporary work, genres and forms of animation. 2D animation is the process of making a film frame by frame to create the illusion of movement. This is made possible by persistence of vision. An after image is thought to persist for approximately 1/25th of a second on the retina of the eye. This means that when a series of slightly different images are shown in sequence, they overlap, creating the illusion of seamless movement.
The zoetrope dates back to 100 BC, when the first example ever was created in China by Ding Huan. He called this early animation invention the pipe that makes the dream come true. The modern zoetrope was invented by William Horner in 1833, who named it the Daedalus. However, it was referred to publicly as the Wheel of the Devil. It wasn't until the 1860s that it became popular. The device itself consists of a cylinder with vertical slits on the side. Around the inside of the cylinder is a sequence of images, each slightly different from the next. As the cylinder spins, the viewer looks at the images through the vertical slits. Viewing the images through the slits breaks the image strip into frames, creating the illusion of movement. The idea for the phenakistoscope was first established in 1829 by Joseph Plateau, but he didn't start planning the invention until 1839, and he created it in 1841. Much like the zoetrope, the phenakistoscope involved a spinning sequence of images, each slightly different than the next. However, the phenakistoscope is a flat disc as opposed to a cylinder. The images are positioned around the edge of the disc. Between each image is a vertical slit equally placed around the disc. To view the image, a handle will be attached to the centre of the disc, and the viewer would look at the reflection of the disc. And the viewer would look at the reflection in a mirror whilst looking through the slits. Looking through the slits prevents the images from blurring together by breaking them into frames, and therefore creating the illusion of movement. John Barnes patented the first flipbook in 1868 and named it the kineograph. This was the first form of 2D animation to use a linear sequence of images as opposed to a continuous cycle of images like in the earlier phenakistoscope and zoetrope. The flipbook is simply a book with images on each page, with each image being slightly different than the next. Rapidly flicking through the pages of the book will cause the images to appear to move. The praxinoscope, much like the zoetrope, consists of a cylinder with a sequence of images around the inside. However, instead of viewing the images through vertical slits, there are mirrors arranged in a circle in the centre of the cylinder. Looking at the images in the mirrors while the device is spinning has the same effect as looking at them through slits like on a zoetrope. However, the mirrors result in a much clearer, brighter and steady animation. The device was invented in France 1877 by Émile Reynaud and was a successor to the zoetrope. The kinetoscope was designed for films to be viewed by only one person at a time. The user would look through a viewing hole on top of the device. Though not a projector itself, it was the start of the standard for the projection of video using a perforated film strip. The film strip would bear a sequence of images that, when passed over a light source, are made visible. A high-speed shutter stops the images from blurring together to create the illusion of movement. The kinetoscope was first described in 1888 by Thomas Edison. However, it wasn't officially presented until April 14, 1894. Rotoscoping is the process of tracing over footage frame by frame. This method is used in both live-action and animated films. Originally, the images were projected onto frosted glass and then redrawn. However, the process is now carried out digitally. This process can be used to blend animation with live-action film. It was invented by Max Fleischer in 1915.
Beware of the blob, it creeps and leaps and glides and slides across the floor, right through the door and all around the wall. A splotch, a blotch, be careful of the blob.
Drawn on film involves drawing images directly onto blank film. Images can be drawn, painted or attached to the film. Len Lye was one of the first artists to do this. One of his many techniques used was carving into film to create patterns. Due to the size of the film strips, however, any images would have to be very small. Cell animation, cell stands for celluloid, involves drawing images on different layers of transparent material. This prevents the artist from having to redraw aspects of an image, such as the background, for every frame. This technique was first used in 1914 by Earl Hurd. The outline of an image would be drawn on the front of a cell and the colour on the back. This helps to hide the brush marks or untidy edges. Originally, the background would be placed on top of the other cells, so any other elements would have to stay within a certain space in the scene. However, by moving the background cell to the back, characters are able to move anywhere and overlap other objects. The cells can be put into strips for use with a projector. Little Nemo is a silent animated short film created by American cartoonist Winsor McCay in 1911. It was McCay's first animated film and featured characters from his comic strip Little Nemo in Slumberland. Little Nemo was one of the earliest animated films and was set apart from other attempts at animated film by its expressive character animation. The film debuted in movie theatres on April 8, 1911, and went on to become part of McCay's vaudeville act 4 years later. Due to its positive reception, McCay hand-coloured each frame of the film, which was originally black and white. The success of Little Nemo resulted in McCay devoting more time to animation, creating How a Mosquito Operates in 1912, and his most well-known film, Gertie the Dinosaur, in 1914. Steamboat Willie is a 1928 animated short film directed by Walt Disney. It is the first cartoon to include synchronized sounds and feature a fully post-produced soundtrack, which helped it stand out from earlier sound cartoons. Another distinguishing feature was its popularity and the fact that it was the first film distributed to feature Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is another Walt Disney production. Released in 1937, it is the first full-length cell animated film. It is based on the German fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs required 250,000 celluloids painted like this one.
Another studio that used animation for entertainment is Warner Brothers. It was founded in 1933 as Schlesinger Productions. It was an independent company which produced popular series such as Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies animated shorts for release by Warner Brothers Pictures. Schlesinger sold the studio to Warner Brothers in 1944. The first Warner Brothers theatrical short was Sinking in the Bathtub, made in 1930. This was the first publicly released non-Disney cartoon to have a pre-recorded soundtrack. Terry Gilliam created animations to complement the surreal humour of Monty Python. He used cutouts of images from newspapers, magazines, posters, etc., and used them to create animated comedy sketches using stop motion, which involves taking a picture of the scene and then making small changes before taking another picture.
We're in position now. We've moved the pram. Click, click. We shoot it. Now, lift this up. Template comes in. We move it forward a bit. We've had to move the feet. So move it like that. Down. Shoot it. Click, click. Done again.
Other animators to use this technique are Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the creators of South Park. Originally, the cartoon was made using the same technique used by Terry Gilliam, using paper cutouts as none of the creators were very skilled at drawing. The simplistic look of the show became part of the comedy. Using cutouts was also less time consuming than drawing each frame by hand. However, it still took a crew of 8 people 3 months to shoot a 22-minute pilot episode. This meant that digital techniques had to be introduced to keep up with the demand of around 15 episodes a year. The use of computer software meant that one 22-minute episode could take only 4 or 5 days to produce. Within this time, character dialogue is recorded and then the animation is created to fit with this. The rendering program Maya uses around 340 processors to piece together a final shot. Although the final look of the shot is very simplistic, advanced software is needed to emulate this using computers. Maya also allows the animator to manipulate images like they would with cutouts, but with greater ease. Using animation in advertising has a number of advantages. You can create a unique, recognizable mascot for your product or company. Characters can last longer than real people as they don't age. There is an unlimited amount of possibilities to what you can create, and there is also a much lower production cost compared to using live action. The John Lewis 2013 Christmas advert, The Bear and the Hare, uses stop motion of 2D cutouts within a 3D model environment. Animation is essential in video games as it gives life to the characters and world within the game. Although 2D animation is still used in games today, it was the only option on earlier systems. As characters didn't need to talk in early games, not as many intricate animations were needed. Also, most games were aimed at children, so animation with bright colours was very appealing. Animation is a very popular choice for children's TV as it enables the creators to create anything they can imagine. It also allows for bright block colours which appeal to children. The style of the cartoon could be simplistic like South Park using paper cutouts, or could be created digitally for a more polished look like Adventure Time. Animation in film allows the creators to convey surreal situations to the audience. Much like with TV, animated films are mainly aimed at children, so the use of bright colours and smooth edges is very appealing. Nowadays, most animation is created using computer software. There are two types of images used. Bitmap images are made up of a grid of pixels. The clarity of the image depends on how small and how close together these pixels are. If the image is enlarged, the pixels will become more visible. Adobe Photoshop creates bitmap images, and photographs are general bitmap images as well. Vector images are mathematical equations which form shapes by creating a series of points connected with straight lines or curves. These images can be enlarged or reduced without affecting the quality of the image. Vector images also take up less disk space. Adobe Illustrator creates vector graphics files. Flash animation is an animated film created using Adobe Flash or a similar animation software. The file is often distributed in the SWF format. Flash is a popular way of creating animations to be posted online due to being easily accessible and relatively easy to use. Most Flash films use vector images, so they usually have very clean graphics. Thank you for watching this video on the history of 2D animation.
There you guys, I'm going home.